Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. If this is your first time clicking on welcome, so glad you're here, and for those of you who are returning, welcome also, welcome one and all. Today we are doing the reading Your Future Self Wants You to Know This, and we will find out what they want you to know. So your future self or versions of yourself are all out there. It's not really woo-woo or out in the cosmos, they're right there. So we'll be literally checking in with you and channeling your own soul today. So as always, we have 3 piles. I didn't put anything on these today because I know you'll be able to go in and just intuitively figure out which one is for you. But as always, please take as much time as you need. So if you need to go ahead and pause this video, come back to self and come back to who you truly are and really step into your heart center. That's when your intuition kicks in, and that's when a lot of these readings really resonate. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to do that. Take as much time as you need to, especially in this reading. Always put yourself first and your energy first. The timestamps will be down below as always when you are ready to come back and rejoin us. And for those of you who are still here, let's take in a nice deep breath. And hold for a moment and release as we just let out everything that's in our mind right now. Just dump it all out. You're of course welcome to pick it all up after these readings. That is your prerogative. Right now, let's just do our best to be in the moment. All right, let's get right into these readings. I'm going to put aside pile 2 and pile 3 for now. So if you chose pile 1, then you know, then you know we are doing Your Future Self Wants You to Know This. So I thought what we would do for the first card, we will check in with your future self and see what message they want to give you in this moment before we even start this reading. What do they want to say to you right now before we get into any of it? Insight. So the first thing your future self wants to tell you is to trust your insight, to trust your story, to third eye activations happening for a lot of you out there, but also that to remind yourself when you are in these not harrowing times, but when you're in an uncomfortable place, to remind yourself that you have there's a bigger story, there's a lot more going on. And sometimes when we're trying to figure things out, we tend to get really small and look at the finer details. So, and sometimes we can control them or figure out what we need to do, and it's a perfectly human thing to do. That's what we all do. But when you're in those moments, to trust your insight. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're choosing, and wherever you are is perfectly fine. Your soul is being absolutely supported, and all of the decisions that you're making really have something to do with something that's much bigger, that's part of everything that you are, that will be revealed maybe later on down the road. So it's about really checking in and trusting where you are, and also trusting your insight. So for those of you who have been feeling a little bit off, or just feeling as though you're just a little bit lost at the moment, which is perfectly normal. That's kind of in the cosmos right now, because there's a lot of things that are being coming to the surface right now to prepare us for things that will be coming on a little bit later. And there's some really big things that will be happening in October too, as a lot of our planets are going direct. So just before that happens, a lot of stuff is coming up for us. So trust your insight as all of this is happening. Again, all of this is happening for the right reasons for you. You may not know all of them right now. And as we, sometimes when we feel in that confusion, we try to figure it out and try to be one step ahead and do one, have all our ducks in a row. Again, this is a very human trait, but it's not always going to work in the sort of the new movement as we move forward. Trust is required, faith is required, and trusting yourself is required. Trusting how you feel, your intuition as you're clicking into it. It's all part of your journey, trusting your insights. So before we even get into your reading, That's what your beautiful future self wants to tell you. Now, your future self wants you to know this. So this is your actual reading. Let's get into this. Domestic harmony, absolutely wonderful. Also going to choose a couple of these. So coming into, let's choose one of these, and feeling one of these too. So again, your future self wants you to know this, what you need to know right now. All right, the world, wonderful. 29, something's coming to completion for you. What else do you have? Keepers of the earth, you are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand behind you. Wonderful. So what your future self, message that we're getting quite clearly from your future self is domestic harmony, harmony on all levels. You are coming into, or you're going through, a cycle of completion right now, Pile 1. So your future self wants to remind you again to trust your insights. Everything that you're choosing for yourself right now is exactly where you need to be. And it's exactly right for you. And you are working with your intuition that's setting you up for the future. We want to remind everybody that everybody is a sovereign being. There's no right or wrong definitively. However you feel you want to choose is completely and totally up to you, obviously, and it's right for you, and that is it. So the way in which you are listening to your soul and listening to where you are at is exactly it, to trust your insight. And this is all part and parcel of what you're coming into. As you move forward, you are definitely leveling up here in a cycle of completion. Now, one of the things that you are learning how to do is to truly trust yourself, and to also see yourself as not just part of the universe, but to see yourself as the universe also. So as you're learning to trust yourself, you're automatically learning to trust the universe. So there's a few things that's going on. A lot of you are working with the universe in introspective ways, doing, testing the universe, working with the universe, putting yourself out there in certain situations, letting the universe give you feedback as to how to work with these certain energies, how to work with these certain decisions, and then feeling the support as you move in and make these decisions for yourself and feel supported. And that's, in essence, sort of testing the universe. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We, as human beings, we've come here to be human. We often, as we move forward, we want to make these great changes. We have this really expansive viewpoint that we could check into, but our practical mind wants to keep us safe, which is perfectly natural. And also it wants to make sure that, when we're making new decisions, it often looks back on what's happened before and tries to compare. And as human beings, we try to compare too. And we don't do that on purpose to make ourselves small. It's just a matter of sort of covering our bases, and we feel like, just in case, we need to make sure we're doing this the right way. It's a natural, progressive thing to do. But it's not working for you anymore. So the way in which you're working with the universe is that you are trusting in very particular manners, in very particular specific situations and specific decisions that you're making. And when you get the all clear, then you move into it and feel the support, and then you think, okay, something's here, something's happening, I can trust this, what's the next thing? So you're working beautifully with your divine masculine and your divine feminine, the very practical mind, which you can integrate very well with the intuitive mind in this directional way that's really moving you forward and really supporting you as you move forward, and understanding that there is trust in the universe. But you're doing it with baby steps. You're doing it on your own terms. So first of all, a round of applause from your future self, because this is a really, really important thing to do. We talk a lot about having a very firm foundation as you move forward, doing whatever you want to do in this lifetime. Having a very firm foundation, the first, second, third chakra, really inhabiting your body, and that way you're not easily led. You know who you are, your boundaries are secure, you can say yes to this, no to this, you trust yourself a lot more. And we've talked about this before. A lot of you have had trauma responses. I feel like pretty much everybody in the world has had a trauma response in the last 15 months, 18 months with everything that's been going on. There's a lot of trauma responses out there, which is totally understandable. We've all been through globally very traumatic situation. Regardless of how people are choosing or what they're doing, everybody's been through a very traumatic situation. So this is a really beautiful way in order to work with yourself, in order to trust yourself again. So this is about really trusting and making your world safe. Now, when we say safe, we don't mean safe in the way that you're never going to really come outside of your box. And we mean safe as a firm foundation. And when we say this at the end, stay safe and sane, we don't mean that safe that you bury your head and you're not really doing anything and you want everything to be okay, but you don't want to take a chance. It's quite the opposite. When we say safe, and when we're saying safe here, this is for you to have a firm foundation to the ground, to know who you are, be firmly rooted to yourself and to the earth, not just earthly bound, but really have a firm foundation, be very grounded. And that way you are free to move in any direction. That way you can have an expansive, magical life. That way you can trust yourself a lot quicker. That way you can take chances and know no matter what, you're going to land on your feet. So we want to be very clear when we say safe. So it's not in a containment unit. Your future self wants to remind you that you're not here to play it safe at all, but you are here to do this in a safe manner where you don't hurt yourself or others. And you've never hurt others, but in the past with your experiences, sometimes you've gone out there and you've taken a chance and you've done this and whatever. And even in those situations, you've always landed on your feet. But there's an essence of you that is that daredevil that wants to take the chance no matter what. And again, you were absolutely protected and you always will be. But there's a way of leveling that out, bringing that back, but also taking that energy as a catalyst and moving it in a direction where you can actually get what you want. So this is all about a completion of a cycle, moving into real trust of yourself, moving into this understanding of coming out of this sort of container that you've been in to keep yourself a little bit safe, which you needed to do. Because sometimes when you put yourself out there, you sort of put yourself out there on the edge. And you took these chances that were kind of crazy, and to have the experience, and there's just, and that part of you is going to be integrated and is integrating right now. It's just a matter of doing it in a healthier way and a more pronounced way, so you can pull in the results that you truly desire. Whereas before it was just sort of unbounded sort of reality, unbounded kind of energy that's going out there to see what happens. And there's something really exciting about that, something really exciting about all of that energy. And you needed all of that in order to move into this. So you're just taking that raw energy, those raw bursts of energy, and be able to utilize them to bring in the sort of manifestations of what it is that you're looking for. So you're looking to feel free in the world. So free and safe can actually exist in the same way. It can exist in the same body, in the same thought form. But it takes a while to do that, because to be completely free, we're having an expansive life, which means you take chances. You're out there, you work with your intuition, you put yourself out there. You're constantly sort of leveling up, going a little bit further, going a little bit further. There's nothing about you that's going to play it safe in this world. Now, there's parts of you that you've hidden in the past in order to get through certain aspects of your life, certainly. And for some of you, you may have seen that as playing it safe, because there's a catalyst part of you that wants to always get out there and be out there. And if you're not constantly doing that, then you wonder why you're not. But sometimes you have to pull in and to do a lot of that inner work in order to really understand how your energy works, break it down and be able to work for you instead of the energy just working. It's always working, but you're trying to utilize it now in this alchemical sort of way in order to make it work for you, because you're ready to hit that next step big time. So trusting your insights, trusting exactly where you are, and trusting that exactly where you are is going to take you to where you need to be too. That's where you're coming in. Now, the domestic harmony happens on many levels here. They want you to know that the freedom that you seek is there for you, and the way in which you are moving towards this freedom is perfectly beautiful, the way in which you're doing it. So trust yourself now. Also, again, we want to remind you that the safety, having that root system down, allows you to move in any direction, living spherically, and again, moving in that expansive direction, which also means that you won't necessarily be able to understand or really compute how beautiful your life is going to be. And that's totally fine. Like, you're at a level here of what you're asking for, and the universe is able to deliver up here. But they're only able to deliver up here if you work on this level of commitment to really grounding in the first, second, and third chakra. That's where your creativity is. Also, that's where your I am chakra is. That's where everything that you know about yourself is going to be grounded into the ground and ready to take off. So clicking into your blueprint is what you're doing. And also, so the completion that you're coming in, it's just, it may feel as though a lot of stuff is coming up for you right now. That's kind of the consensus right now as we move through this energy. There's definitely that energy in the air. But your future self is asking you not to take, don't worry about it. Don't even pay any attention to it. Whatever's coming up really is sort of coming up because it's not coming up even to be integrated. You've actually already integrated everything. It's coming up to remind you of who you once were. It's almost like it's playing a movie for you. And in this movie, it's reminding you of what you once were. And it's really important for you to do this and pay attention to it, because it wants to remind you of everything that you've been through and how brilliant and beautiful you have become. So it's sort of playing out like a movie. Now, some of you could be having sort of movie-like dreams where, experiences are coming up. So if things come up for you, it's not anything that needs to be integrated anymore. It's already there. It's just letting you know, it's a reminder of a sort of a replay to remind you of how far you've come, just so you can secure yourself in that foundation moving forward. So there's a lot of healing that's been going on, specifically with trauma, that's, way before whatever happened, whatever's been happening globally, and we all know what that is. But it's way before them. It may have been triggered in that time too, but you used that time to really go within and introspect and see what needed to be done. So this real expansiveness, this real freedom is owed to you because of the work that you've done, clicking into where you are and having this power present itself to you. You're coming into a sense of power that you never had before, and you'll be able to wield it in a way that's absolutely beautiful. And as you wield it, you will feel very safe in wielding it. Now, that's not to say that everything that you say everybody wants to hear, but the people who do want to hear it will be very grateful for you. And because a lot of what you want to say and what you have to say, a lot of the true wisdom is about the core of who we are. And a lot of people right now are really focused on the sort of the outcomes and the outsourcing and the external, and that's perfectly fine. That's part of it too. We're all in this together, and everybody's focusing on different things, but you're going to be focusing on core stuff. And this is you coming into your blueprint. This is what you're here to do. You're here to shine light on it. You're here to show people how to move through that, and you're here to really show people how to get back into a whole realm of spirituality. Spirituality has gone in many different ways, where it's gone a little lula, a little woo woo, a little this, a little that, and that's what we needed at different times. But now it's coming down to the point where people are ready to really hear the truth of getting to the core of exactly who they are and how powerful they are. And people will listen to what you have to say because you articulate it brilliantly, and that's what you hear, and that's what people hear, and that's what they want to hear. And that's what you're here to do in this lifetime. So this is an important time for you, not to do any work necessarily right now, but to really understand how far you've come and to celebrate everything. because sometimes you have a version of yourself, and if you can't complete it in a certain amount of time, you can kind of get down on yourself, and you tend to not see yourself in the complete form. You tend to still see yourself sometimes, pile one, a little bit of real talk, in fragmented senses of the word, because you were working on this and you're working on that, and I've done pretty well here and I've done pretty well on that. They're asking you to really come in and see yourself from the third eye, see yourself in this completed form already. And then when these movies come up to show you what you've been through and how far you've come, really celebrate that. Really celebrate and really understand that, because that's really, really important for you. And the safety that you have, again, it's this rooting in the world that you have, which allows you to take these chances. And when we say not to be safe, we don't say put yourself in danger by any stretch of the imagination, but we say live that beautiful life, take that chance. But you know, when you have that security of knowing that no matter what, you're a sovereign being and you're going to land on your feet and everything's going to be okay. You know, you live a completely different kind of life. So this is what you're moving into. This is what your future self wants you to know. They want you to know that you're already there. They want you to know that the version of them that's talking to you now already exists within you. So, but there's a completion cycle that's coming up for you where you're able to move forward and take form in a new way and really level up on this freedom that you've been wanting and that you've been working for. So, and a lot of that freedom is honoring your sovereignty, knowing that not everybody is going to see things the way that you do, and that's okay. That you're going to hold the light for whatever it is that you understand to be true. And that coincides with the wisdom of the universe. So, beginning for this to put all of these upright, and let's see what we have for the world. You have the Holly King here. So again, bringing this ancient wisdom in, bringing this ancient magic in, and also finding a way to work this ancient magic in this beautiful world of ours. A lot of it's been dumbed down. A lot of it's been dumbed down by society, or has been, they try to eradicate it one way or another, even like not to listen to your intuition or this, that, and the other, emotionality, vulnerability, all of that stuff. It's not really put at the forefront of this world and how we live. And also, you know, when people show emotion, people say that they're irrational, and actually it's the other way around. People who don't show emotion and react to that and very uncomfortable about that can often have very irrational kind of versions of events. So honoring all of that, encasing all of that, bringing that back into humanity, knowing that that exists, and just seeing the sort of rise of the divine feminine coming into the divine feminine aspects of self, which means listening to your intuition, listening to your emotionality, and listening to each other, which is something that's absolutely vital at this time, and accepting that everybody has their own journey and nobody really has the right to control anybody else's journey. This is just where we are. And this is something that you are going to really integrate. And once you do this, it gives you this exacting kind of freedom where you're not looking for anyone to side with you. You don't need anyone to tell you you're right or wrong. You also don't feel as though you need to do that for other people. You can see things the way that they are. You also are able to see the energy of people all the way back, not just where they are now, the decisions that they've made, their bloodline, their ancestries, because people make decisions and are in the world in a very specific way because of the way in which they've been brought up, because of our conditioning. We've all been conditioned in this world, in this society. No one's gotten away from that, maybe to a lesser degree, but if you're in a heightened society in Western civilization, we've all been hunkered down one way or another. We've all been programmed. So this is all about letting go of those programs and letting people be, including you. Now, you might find that right now you're at this precipice where you're ready to move forward, and there's a reason why you haven't done that yet. It's because as you let go of these programs, and again, there's nothing more for you to do. All the healing's been integrated. It's just more of an observational thing for you. As you let go of these programs and you realize that everything you've done has been perfectly fine, you're protected no matter what, you realize that what you've asked for may not be exactly what it is that you wanted. You may not have really tapped into your actual soul of what you wanted. Maybe you were asking for what you deemed you presumed that you deserved, or what you thought you could get. Or you started off dreaming big and then you kind of compromised and said, but let's do this. Your practical mind is, well, go, I would love to have this, but at the same time, this could work too. The thing about your personality is you can make anything work, and you can see things from everybody else's point of view, which is wonderful, but it can keep you a little ungrounded at times. So you're being asked to click into exactly what you want, what your soul wants, and not to hold back. So this might be a little bit of time for you to really check in and make sure that what you've asked for, and be really clear about what it is that you've asked for and what it is that you truly want. So insight, and you've got this Three of Pentacles coming in too, with this understanding of community coming in for you too, and really understanding who you are. And for you, it's sort of a vessel of who you are, and it includes a whole spectrum of who you can become, and understanding on one day when you make this decision, you become this and this, that, and you can change it at any time. It's almost like a matter of chess, and you're playing chess and you really understand it. And there's a lot of people out there who are understanding the chess game, but it's usually not the people who are claiming that they understand what's going on, which is totally fine. But there's a beautiful gracefulness to you that doesn't really feel the need to put yourself out there to say that you understand this, that, and the other. You're watching how people are using this confidence, and some of it's bravado, which is, again, totally fine. Everybody gets to do and be what they want, but you're watching, you're observing, and you're seeing how this is all working out. And you're seeing, and you're putting it all together, and you're putting it all together in this beautiful way, and really understanding how you want to be. And it's not a case of, oh, I don't want to be like that. Oh goodness, it's not a judgmental whatever. It's just like, okay, that's great. That doesn't work for me though. I can see why this is happening. I need to go back, because I can see that in myself. Let me go back. Let me regress a little bit. Let me pull something out. Let me heal that. Let me see what needs to be done. So this is all about connection and finding the connections that you want. Now, for some of you, it could be partnerships. For some of you, it's collaborations in the world. For some of you, it's moving forward in the world and doing exactly what you want to do, and that's perfectly fine. That also means that there's symbiotic relationships in and around you with yourself, with the right people coming in to help you, because God knows, we know we can't do this alone. Everybody comes together one way or another. We all support each other, whether you're looking for however you're looking for, whatever you're looking for, these people, these situations will be coming to you and will be attracted to you. You understand that's your energy. You understand how to tangibly do that now. The law of attraction can kind of get a little skew, because people really don't know what they want. They think they know what they want. They put all their energy into that, and then they over-focus on it and don't trust it. And sometimes they don't let go and they don't trust it because it's not truly at their core what they really want. So this is a clarity period for you, but you're doing everything exactly as you need to. The old king coming in. Yeah, brand new beginnings coming in for you here. The oak king here. As we move in with the hangman here. This is, as we said, this is a holding period for you, but this is not an inactive time for you in any way, shape, or form. So we don't want you to give you this impression. This is not a passive time for you. This is a time for you to regroup, to see what's working, what isn't. Again, this is not a time to go back and necessarily heal or integrate. All of that work's been done. This is a time to be really, really clear about what it is that you want. Your future self is very, very clear about what they want, and they're already there. What they're doing is they're giving you the information to be able to secure this firm foundation for yourself. And the main way that you're going to do that is by watching these replaying movies and watching your experiences and really understanding every part of why you chose every single thing and every single situation that you've ever been through. It's been for a reason. Some of it was to release old karma and soul contracts, certainly, but some of it was because there was a burning desire to find something out. And some of it may have seemed a little unsafe at some times to go through and do this, but there was still an energy of it that needed to be done, and either way you were going to be protected. Now, This new life that you're moving into, this new version of self that you're moving into, will have that without having to put yourself in danger anymore, necessarily, just choosing what's right for you. But it's not, again, it's a life outside of the box. It's pure freedom, doing whatever it is that you want. It's not playing it safe in any way, but it's also not pushing the boundaries and pushing the universe the way that you used to, just to say, all right, let's see how far we can push this. So you're working with the energy of the universe in a completely different way. But it's when we're saying that you get the safety, you're not safe in that box. We want you to be out there taking those chances and doing whatever you need to do. Now, some of those chances may not quite work out the way that you want, but it leads you on to something else. And that first chance that you take will still be really important for you to take. But it will be the confidence that you're coming into. And that's what you're leading up to here. And Keepers of the Earth, you have the sea here too. So this is your alchemical wisdom coming in to click into your blueprint, your the beauty of what you're supposed to do in this lifetime. Now, a lot of you are channelers in your own way, but you're also here to share a certain amount of wisdom. You're also here to integrate that wisdom and move the energy of the earth on and create that wisdom. You came in here to hold the light, and that was quite difficult for some of you. Now that light is being asked to sort of be shined back on you a little bit more. As you shine the light on yourself, you can see that own individuality, to concentrate on that own uniqueness that you have, to have this truth, to put it out there. So you're not alone with what you're doing, and there is community coming in for you. For some of you, there's love coming in also. Honestly, it's kind of a brand new beginning on all levels for most of you coming in. And again, the community that we speak of people that are going to support you as you move forward, business-wise, spiritually wise, to move forward in practical, tangible ways. You'll meet somebody and all of a sudden, this is the house that you're going to buy from them. I mean, all of these magical sort of tie-ins that will come in, that will, not in this woo-woo way, in this very practical way that will come in and make your life easier, to have this easy life. So when we say easy, this understanding that nothing needs to be really difficult. You don't need to fight for anything. Everything comes to you. But that doesn't mean that you just sit there. There's action that you need to take. Obviously, there's alignment that you need to take. And you've been figuring out how this works for you in order to create the world that you want to live in. And as we've talked about on this channel, a lot recently, about obviously the reality that you choose for yourself is the reality that you have. And this reality that you are creating for yourself involves many different realities. It's open to all realities. So it's been a little bit more difficult for you to have that intangible form, to get that firm foundation, because your reality includes everybody else's reality. But you're trying to form your reality based on everybody else's reality. So coming back to center, where you form your reality first, which encases everybody else's reality, it kind of sounds the same, but it really isn't. And this is it. And this is this firm foundation from where your wisdom can come out. And the way in which you articulate things, your energy too, is going to bring you in many different directions. There's going to be a lot of different things that you do too. Many of you will not be, because you have this energy, right? You have this beautiful energy. You're not going to be feel complete by doing one or two things. You'll do an amalgam of different things. You'll bring in, you'll do this. You'll have 5 different things going on at the same time. You might even do that right now. If you're writing a book, you have two different books going on. You have this going on, this, that. It doesn't matter if things don't get they don't all get completed at the same time, because when the energy is right for one thing, you'll finish off that and then go off with this and do that. But this is something that you'll be able to do. So having these connections that are coming in, having this support from the outside based on your energy that's pulling them in, these are the situations that will be coming in for you that will make your life easier. And of course, you've been working on the insular level, so you're seeing this as a very solo affair. So how do I achieve this? What am I going to do? And some of you have been feeling a little irate with yourself because you're just seeing it from your own point of view. From just yourself, which is totally fair enough. But as you're moving forward, your future self wants to remind you that people are coming in to support you and help you, not just your guides, but tangible real living people that will come in many, many ways. So you're not alone, and that's part of the faith. So let's go ahead and choose one more for you. So to reiterate, it's all about trusting yourself, the activation of the third eye coming in, and also to trust yourself on your own terms. Let everything play out that's coming before, and use it as a way to really celebrate everything that you've been through, and understanding that the levels that you put yourself out on before, where you've really pushed yourself, you're taking that energy now as a catalyst. You're going to do that in this lifetime, but with working in unison with the universe now. So you're up leveling on that catalyst energy of wanting to be free and doing this, that, and the other, which you can do at any time. So there is a new beginning. There is a stopping right now while this is happening. But your future self wants you to know that every decision that you've made has led you to this point, and this is exactly where you need to be. And we can also feel that even though this is your future self speaking to you, they're actually right there. So there's an element of you that's already this self. It's almost like you put on one boot, you're about to put on the next boot, and then you can go run in any direction that you want to. So it's not exactly your future self speaking to you. It's an aspect of your already self, but they're firmly in this new reality, which you are moving into. So this is about not just honoring your wisdom, but finding out the best way to be able to utilize it in this lifetime while having that freedom that you crave, and not being sort of bashed around by the external, which you have been in certain times. And this is the way that you're doing it, by really honoring where you are, grounding into the first, second, and third chakra, knowing that every single situation you put yourself through was for a reason. Doesn't mean you need to repeat them anymore, because you're at a brand new level. But also knowing that it's absolutely beautiful to bring in every element of who you are and shine the light on yourself, so you can shine it in a different way out into the world, instead of holding the light for the world, which is what you've been doing for the last 12 months. So this is a way of coming back to yourself, sort of in a new way, putting your energy first. Let's get you this last thing here. But again, reminding yourself that yes, you've been doing all this insular work, which is absolutely wonderful, but other people are coming in to support you. Not just your guides, but people are coming in to help you, raise your frequency, keep your frequency up, and take you further to your dreams. But the main thing is to really check in with yourself. Have you chosen exactly what you want? Go into your heart chakra. Really click into that third eye chakra. Is this exactly what you want? What do you really want in this lifetime? Because for some of you, it's going to shift and it's going to change. It's going to look different now that you know intrinsically that you can evolve to it, that you can get it, you can bring it in and have this magical life. Whatever you've asked for before may not be enough. So listening. If you want to be heard, learn to listen. And you've got that throat chakra too. So again, the articulation of who you are, listening to everything. So this is something that you've been doing anyway. You've been listening to absolutely everything. So what you're being asked to do is to ground into that energy and put your own energy first. Now that you've been the observer, it's time for you to take action, but to take specific action that gives you the confidence to move forward. Really listening to your intuition. You've got that beautiful divine masculine, divine feminine, that practicality, and that beautiful moving forward with your intuition. You've got that out of balance, and it's been out of balance. You either went for it and then just fell flat in your face, but somehow were okay, or then you were a little bit nervous to listen to your intuition. You listened to your practical mind. It led you down a path you weren't really interested in continuing on. So you've done these dichotomies before, going one way or another. So this is the exact balance that you're at, and you're a lot further along than you've ever given yourself credit for. So listen for those cues from your future self as they're sending them back to you, to remind you that you are far further than you are, and everything you want is at your fingertips right now. Okay, so that's what we have for you, Pile 1. We hope that resonated with you and gave you a little bit of support. We are sending you support for exactly who and where you are right now. And again, as we always say, stay safe and sane, but staying safe doesn't mean that you don't get out there and be yourself. It does. Get out there with confidence. Go be you no matter what. Okay? So until we meet again, bye-bye. Hey, for all you Pile Tours out there, this is messages from your future self. Your future self wants you to know this. But before we do that, we're going to ask what your future self wants you to know right now before we get into anything else, what they want you to know for this very present moment. So belonging. So you belong here. Some of you have been wondering, not necessarily wondering what you're here to do, but how to activate it and how to bring it to the world. There's been some ups and downs with that for some of you. There's been a little bit of self-doubt, and there's been some old stuff that's come up about really being seen and really being understood for who they are. And you understand that it comes back to you. Once you accept yourself, it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And also, the understanding is that when people react to you, 99.9% of the time, it isn't you, it's them. It's they're reacting to something inside of themselves. Sometimes it is because of something that you've done. And in those instances, you absolutely know the difference and you will act accordingly and take care of it. But you're understanding this as you move forward. Now, we say this a lot, you don't have to care what other people think. It's easier said than done. If it was that easy, then nobody would be self-conscious, right? We would have a human race where nobody is self-conscious. But this is something that you've been really working on, and your future self is acknowledging this and saying that you are understanding how you belong, where you belong, and you're building those ties for yourself. A little bit of a similar energy to Pile 1, a little bit of a similar message in some ways, but different energy. So this understanding for belonging for you has really, really hit home, and they want to remind you that you do belong. Not only, but you absolutely belong. You're here for a reason. Your activated reason is a beautiful reason. Never doubt that. And they're really proud of you. So that's your first message for the present moment. Now we are going to move into what your future self wants. Your future self wants you to know this. So we'll find out what that is. So we're going to start here. Adventure. Oh, I love 55 too. So some of you hearing too, some of you maybe finding the 777s, the 555s, the 111s, all those synchronistic numbers too coming in, because this is a synchronistic time for you. So when you move through this point, you probably won't be seeing those numbers anymore. So for those of you who are not seeing those numbers anymore, it's just that you've been activated in a new way, and they don't need to reach out to you in that way to be able to see those numbers. But for those of you who are seeing those numbers, those are absolutely for your guides too. So either way, you're protected and they are working with you. But yeah, this adventure, this is very exciting. All right, let's get you a few extra cards here to see what they want you to know. So all part of belonging. And in this way, you have something in common with Pile 1. All sense of belonging means to really root yourself into the ground so that you know you're aware of your own presence and your own beauty, which means you can move in any direction with a sure footing. And that's exactly, as Pile 1, but again, different energy, that's exactly what you're working on doing right now. So your future self is absolutely saying whatever you're doing right now is about to pay off big time. So let's see what we've got here. All right, let's turn these mofos over and get you some interesting messages. Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? Absolutely. Incredible. And then we've got the 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron. So there's some real activation going on for you. In the first, for the first pile, it was more to do with solidifying the first chakras, but it was really throat chakra coming up, but third eye. For you, this is your connecting to your source chakra for sure, and also Archangel Metatron. So you're getting a lot of downloads right now. I mean, you've been ascending, you've been getting a lot of them. These are a little less intense, which is why we said that for some of you, you may not be seeing the sequential numbers anymore, but you used to. So they're just delivering the information a little bit differently, because before they needed to catch your attention. And if you're still getting the the number sequences, that's wonderful. They're just letting you know that you're there. If you drop into yourself, you might be a little preoccupied. So they're just really letting you know that they're there. Also, Archangel Metatron with the 111 and the 1111, he's also letting you know that he's there. That's his own private number from him to you. So for those of you who are working with Archangel Metatron or want to work with him, it would be an absolutely amazing angel to work with as you work through the next couple of weeks whenever you've activated and whenever you've actually come to this reading, because it's a timeless reading. So moving you through forward. So adventure is on the horizon, and this is something that you want. You've been itching for a change. You've been itching for something new. Some of you are trying to solidify your path, but finding a little quicksandy, either going down or it's not figuring itself out and wondering if you're on the right path. I want to remind you, your future self wants to remind you, anything that isn't working out for you, it's laying the way for something bigger. So we want to remind you of that. So in the past, there were certain experiences that you went through. Not everything you necessarily needed to go through, but there was an aspect of you, just for want of a better term, real talk, wanted to play small a little bit. So, there are certain situations that you went in and, you thought with the practical mind, this is going to be fine, this is going to be fine. And then you got into it and you were like, I really don't want to be here. And you really didn't need to be here. So the minute you activated that, the universe took you out of it. So you might have asked for something, gone into it, and it sort of blew up. Within a couple of weeks, something happened and, it fell apart. And then you're seeing it as, I don't know why I keep doing this, and maybe seeing it as a string of failures. But we want to remind you that you asked for something, you got it, and then you acknowledge that you didn't really want it, and the universe was like, you don't really need this, and they took you out of it immediately. So this is a pattern that you're changing. Now, you want that magical life, and you're going to have that magical life of freedom. There's a theme of freedom right now, and not just physically freedom in the world, but like the real freedom that we have, freedom of mind to move in any direction. And really just being absolutely open to everything and sort of that next level, So this is what you're doing. And in order to do that, really solidifying your path, letting go of ways that you've done this before. And in this way, you're actually quite similar to Pal 1, but it is different. So a lot of your downloads are coming from sort of the upstairs now, those higher chakras. And before, when they came in that way, it made you a little bit... it made you a little wobbly because you either had really intense ascension symptoms, or you weren't firmly in your body with the first, second, third chakra. So it leveled you. It didn't level you out. It kind of made you a little bit wobbly. So what they've done is they worked with you to get you back into your body with the first, second, third chakra, and now you're back to getting those activations right at the top of your head now going down. So this is you connecting to your source. This is you understanding that you are source, you're part of source. This is you understanding that you can have the life that you want. This is about you bringing down this beautiful energy that existed before and like sort of placing it around society. What we have now is we have so many things that are coming up, and all of it's valid. We need to look at all of it. It's all bubbling to the surface. But what's really bubbling to the surface is this very specific yes, no, agendas, them against us, this, that, and the other. And these are narratives that we've had in the 3D world, right? They need to come up so we can see them. We need to explore them, right? So it's beautiful that they're coming up. Now, a lot of people say that there's a lot of chaos out there, but actually we're being able to see for the first time exactly what we've been living under and exactly what we've been doing with this energy. So this is a way for you to be able to see everything. And this is the thing. This is what your future self is saying. Now, sit with it. See how you feel. It may trigger you. It may not feel right to you. Just see how you feel. But what they're saying is that with everything that's coming up and bubbling to the surface, what they're saying is chuck it all out. Chuck it all out. None of it's real. None of it's real. You start from your own understanding. That's it. It's done. There's something much deeper going on that connects us. Chuck it all out. None of it's right. None of it's wrong. Everybody makes their own choices. You've made yours. You stand by yours. That's great. But you're being asked to chuck it out. Chuck it all out. You don't need to investigate. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to whatever. It's all part of the old stuff. It's all old. And that's not what you're here to do. You're not here to protect the old. You're not here to protect the old systems. You're here to shift those systems and let them crumble, which is something that's going to happen anyway. As they're crumbling, people are insisting on sort of going down with them a little bit. And that's exactly where they need to be, and that's exactly what they're doing. And you've done that too in different ways. We've all done that. We've all sort of really allowed ourselves to sort of crumble within something to see from the inside out what it's going to look like. So we've all done it. So nobody can have any judgment about this. You can if you want, but it's futile. We've all done it. So this is for you to take what's given out there and to chuck it all out, and for you to reach this new paradigm of moving into not only just trusting your path, but bringing in this wisdom and integrating it in a way where you're not even paying attention to the old 3D stuff. Now, this isn't about moving on to 5D. I know there's a lot of stuff in the spiritual community about being 5D, and we're 5D now, and we're here, and we're great, and whatever. And, no disrespect to anybody who thinks they're 5D, but a lot of people who think they're 5D aren't quite where they think they are, right? And it's not really about living in the 5D, because when you get up there, people are getting confused, when we die, and we're all going to do that, we are all going to return to Earth, and we will be 5, 6, 7, 8. It will be all those Ds. Really, at the end of the day, we're bringing in a higher consciousness to the 3D world to elevate it, but we're here to be human. So it's not really about the 5D, but we are very much playing out the 3D. That's very obvious, but we don't need to be obsessed with 5D necessarily. So, but this is letting the old paradigms die and moving you into bringing in this beautiful energy and how to integrate that energy whereas before you were integrating that energy, but it was always, how do I integrate that energy in and around the 3D? How do I do this? This is going on, I've got to be careful here, I've got to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like everybody's on eggshells right now, one way or another, but that's not what you're being asked to do. So it's really stepping into this energy where the 3D is crumbled and you're bringing in this beautiful energy and integrating it no matter what. You don't need to worry about the 3D. It's gone. It's just let it go. It's absolutely gone. So for you, it's gone. And this is where you're going to find your true belonging. This is where you're going to find clicking into your blueprint what exactly you're here to do. Now, let's be clear. You're here to be articulate and speak the truth, speak wisdom, old wisdom that's come in and's been upgraded, new ways of seeing things, definitely, but also be very cognizant of other people's energy and where they are. You're definitely here to bring in the Christ-like energy, so we're not saying to go out there, nobody exists anymore, nobody cares, this is right, you're right. That's the opposite of what we're saying. So for those of you who are cluing in on this, you should know that, obviously, but we're just checking in. So this is for you to outgrow the old completely and not keep it in your atmosphere to make sense of it so you can make sense of what's going on. This is more about letting it crumble. The chaos is there and seeing through it as a mist. It's almost like, I keep saying, I don't know if you've seen the Mists of Avalon, when they're traveling through on the boat, and then all of a sudden the mist rises and they see Avalon, but before they couldn't. So this is your Avalon. And those of you, actually, a lot of you, this is a general reading, it may not resonate with all of you, I don't expect that it would, but some of you are connected to the Mists of Avalon, that old sort of tribal understanding of coming together and working together, and the pagan aspects of things. But even if you do have that sort of longing or that understanding, the way in which you will bring back this energy will be different. So to be specific and to be clear, you're bringing back ancient energy and integrating into the earth, and you're not exactly upgrading it so it's modern. We see a lot of modern things, a lot of modern witchcraft, a lot of modern this, that, and the other. That's already out there, and whoever's doing that, and there's many of them, they're already doing a great job. You're not here to do that. You're actually here to bring back the old wisdom, but present it in a new way, but not modern, if that makes any sense. So trust your path, and this is a very adventurous path. And we want you to have a really good time with it. And that's, again, getting into that foundational energy where you're not worrying or thinking about or stepping on eggshells about what it is, you know, you're supposed to do in this lifetime by paying too much attention to what's going on out there. So this is just you coming into your all here, doing things on your own terms. But also you've done the work to really understand how to be plentiful, how to speak to people and articulate yourself, and be open to absolutely everything without an agenda. So beautiful. And this is where you're going to get your real freedom and your real understanding of belonging. It comes in and out with you guys, actually. With the belonging stakes, because you get into this understanding of belonging, and then when you're out in the world, it's almost like you don't want to offend anybody, you but not in a way that you're afraid. You just, you know, want everybody to be okay, that sort of martyr syndrome a little bit, but it causes you to back up a little bit and then causes you not to speak your truth. So this is a way for you to do that. But and in the way, sometimes in the past you've been a little blunt. You know, you have it, you've got that fiery element, and when it's needed, you know, trust us, when somebody has crossed that boundary, they will know, they will absolutely know, and you'll do it, you know, you'll absolutely do that. It's, you know, there's different versions of peace, and sometimes people, you know, people need to be ripped a new one, but that happens very rarely with you, and they need to keep pushing. But this is a way for you to understand your boundaries, how to articulate when to move in, you know, and working with spirit. We're working with an element of spirit. So it's almost like, you know, you're here, you're human, you're absolutely human, you're going to take advantage of being human, but you're working in spirit form. That's where you're working. So that's where you are, and that's what they want you to know. So you've got the Knight of Chalices, you've got the Knight of Cups coming in here. Again, coming in with this beautiful adventurous energy of this like moving forward, so spurting forward kind of thing, but really understanding what you've got, the value that you've got, and then bringing that to the belonging, but not keeping it to yourself because you don't know where it fits. It's almost like you're trying to see where you fit in the world before you put yourself out there. Now you're being asked to just let the world fall and to put yourself out there, and then the fitting will become in and around you, if that makes any sense. So there's a different way of moving coming in for you. But this, you had to be ready for this, to hear this information. You had to be ready to move forward with this information, because there's a beauty to you, and there's a softness to you too that wanted to be protected while all of this was going on and everything was crumbling. It's not been easy for anyone, really. I mean, some people are kind of understanding that as everything falls away, it's quite exciting, but not many people are in that vein, and it's totally understandable that not everybody is really excited about what's going on. Totally understand that. So with adventure, you have the Queen of Chalices. So you're moving into this energy too, with the divine masculine, the divine feminine moving forward. So knowing when to move forward and taking that chance. Again, you have this with Pile 1. You might want to check out Pile 1 if it resonates with you. That one was a longer one because it was really coming up with the energy of the universe that they're working with too. So that might give you a little bit of extra background, but only if it feels right. So this is for you, this moving into certainty again, and putting yourself out there and not needing to feel as though you belong before you articulate who you are. Again, encompassing this beautiful like essence of spirituality. A lot of people are moving toward this and wanting to find that balance between living in this world but not of it, which is that famous quote. And you actually are going to accomplish this. And it does feel like an accomplishment right now. It really is owed to everyone one way or another. And we feel weird about saying the word owed, but just for clarity's sake, so we can really articulate how brilliant you are. we're going to use the word owed, but you're actually going to achieve this. So your future self wants you to know that you're on the precipice of this, and this is where you are. So if you've had these sort of letdowns as you're trying to put yourself out there, and then you pull yourself back because you didn't want to offend anybody, or something's happened, or being out there and being seen, and they want you to know that's all part and parcel of learning, but also this adventurous spirit is also coming out, and it's not gonna let you sit on the sidelines. So trust your path. You've got the Page of Wands. You've got this beautiful sort of page knight queen energy too, and this beautiful energy of chalices coming in and really owning your empathic, really owning and honing in on all of your beautiful gifts, but the alchemy gifts, but also knowing how to utilize them. And also the most important thing, we say this again, but it sounds really woo-woo until you really get it. Everything you go through can be shifted and changed. So if you make a decision, or there's something that you do and it's starting to go a little bit wobbly, you can shift directions at any time by utilizing the energy that you have to change any outcome. And this is the alchemist in you that's coming out to be able to do this. And it's almost like you're using your powers and figuring this out. So you really can't go wrong as a sovereign being. So trusting that path. And then you've got the Five of Athames coming in here too. So this is something with this Page of Wands coming into, with this passion coming into, this wonderful being out there of not dumbing yourself down in any way, this passionate idea coupled, or passionate beautiful spirit coupled with this immense emotionality and this very, very deep feeling water energy that you have, whether you're water or not, this really empathic sensitivity that's been almost too sensitive for this world before, but using that now of really understanding how things work and breaking things down, and understanding that there's new beginnings in every ending, and also moving forward too with this Five of Athames, understanding that you hold the power, you hold the key at all times, and the way in which you've seen things before has caused your letdowns. So you really understand the inner workings of creating your own reality, but you also understand the inner workings of, if you created your own reality and you don't like it, you shift it and you change it immediately, but it's all done from within. So this is a really, really, really exciting time for you. Really, 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 three reallys, right? A really exciting time for you as everything you've worked for and every aspect of yourself comes together to create this beautiful being that just has this freedom to do and be as they want to. And now these downloads are helping you do this. You're getting all these downloads right now to give you the confidence to be able to do this. So as you really do have connections with Pile 1, there is something coming in. So they were seeing things a little bit differently. You might be given information from even past lives or past situations in order for you to fit and finish certain parts of the stories that you told yourself. But that narrative is really important, because when it all comes together and it all makes sense, you're able to move away from that narrative and help other people's with theirs. But it's about first owning your narrative. And this is part of owning your narrative and what you've been through, because it's important. You've been through a lot of different things, and you've not shied away from going really deep into some of this healing. And some of you even got lost in it for a while, bringing yourself back up, seeing yourself come up like, gasping for air sort of thing. But this is the way that you can absolutely help people, by being yourself and encompassing this energy that most people want, this kind of energy of being human, but also having that spiritual self, but not being obsessed with this sort of 5D where they're out of, they've achieved something, they're there, I'm 5D now, I'm okay, it's, and everybody else hasn't gotten here yet. That's completely the opposite. It's not the point. So you're here to really pull in, and maybe pull in all the strings of the spirit of spirituality, some of the woo-woo stuff, as we said in Pile 1 again, some of the woo-woo stuff, some of the other stuff, some of the stuff that didn't work, and some of the stuff that was a little bit toxic. All of that's come to the surface too in the last couple of years. Maybe something that you could do is pull it all together and see where it all came from, even the history of spirituality. even the way that they've done sort of in the Bible, how different things have come together and how they've worked and how some of it hasn't worked. And this is something that you could do either in book form or talk about it, or but bringing in the old energy, the old magic, how to work with alchemy. But again, it's not presenting the old magic as it was exactly, because there's a newness to it, but also not modernizing it at the same time. So there's something in the middle. There's information in the middle that you are bringing in, and it's important because it's the missing piece, and it's bringing in this energy. And that's what your future self wants you to know. That's what you're here to do. You're clicking into it, and you're on the precipice of doing this already. So if this is resonating with you, you should be already getting the downloads, and you should be on your way to do this. Again, if you want a little extra information, check out Power 1 if that resonates with you. Now, not all of it with Power 1 may resonate with you, but take what does, because that might be extra information for you. But also to remind you that everything you've done, you've been moving yourself forward in this way, and you are absolutely ready to take the next step, and that's what you're ready to do. Now, there's energy that's coming in and around you that's going to support you physically, and that energy is already working sort of on the back stages, as it were. So that may not become completely apparent to you right now, but once it does, there's going to be something from the external that moves in and starts this catalyst, and you'll know you'll be moving forward. So for those of you who don't feel lost, it's all working. Stay with your energy right now. You're really clicking into your blueprint, what you're supposed to do, and it's really expansive, and it's a beautiful journey. It's going to take you a lot of different places too. Not going to keep you rooted necessarily on one continent, although you may be rooted if you have children or whatever in one place, but you'll have the chance to go other places, because a lot of this is to do with working with other cultures, bringing in many different points of view, and again working with old systems of magic that still exist, and spirituality, and applying that here in this lifetime. So very, very exciting energy coming in for you. Well, it's already here for you, Pal 2. But this is, hopefully, if you've been wondering what's going on, this is giving you a little bit more clarity. Woo, that just flew out. Did you see that? That's crazy. Security, to feel more secure, deepen your connection with nature. Root chakra. This is something that you've been doing to really root in who you are. As we said, to reiterate at the beginning, when they were working with your crown chakra before, it made you a little ungrounded. So they wanted you to get back into your body, get your energy back into your body, first, second chakra, and now they're working with specifically your crown chakra now. The first pile was the third eye chakra. So this is, if you're feeling as though you need to, with these energies coming in, again, with these activations that are up a little bit higher, especially with our crown chakra and the causal chakra, that's, all these chakras that come in afterwards, above the crown chakra. We have more than 7 chakras. If you're feeling a little ungrounded, go ground yourself, go earth, go do what you need to do, because that's really, really important. As information comes in, as somebody who is a channeler, and you are channelers too, if we are not fully integrated, a lot of what we channel can go through our own systems and our own fears and our own ego. And it's, what we channel can be pretty much what we need to hear, but it may not be exactly it may not be exactly universal truth. So it's really important for you right now to do what you need to do to secure your energy, but also leave it open for this expansiveness. So if you are feeling a little overwhelmed with ascension symptoms and things that are going on in your upper chakras, just go earth, ground yourself. But you've done all that work in the first, second, third chakra. So whatever you're channeling is going to be perfect. You don't need to worry about that. That's if you leave it ungrounded and you're not in your body and you're not doing anything to do that inner work to bring yourself into that. That's what we've been seeing in the world also. So it's really just a matter of going to ground outside, grounding your feet into the earth and coming back to you. just to get that energy right from the top chakras all the way through and into the earth. Now, all of that energy and all of those channelings that people have come up with, it doesn't really matter if it's not universal truth. It's someone's truth. It's going to resonate with anyone. So no matter what people are channeling, whether they're saying it true or not, it's their truth and they're owed it. And other people who are on that frequency are going to resonate with it. And the most important thing that we cannot stress more than anything else is that people don't feel alone right now. So people need to feel part of a group. People need to feel supported. People need to feel as though they're in and around something bigger. They need to feel. They just need to feel, and that's really important. So as long as there's energy out there and people can conclude and people can come to it and people can resonate with it because that's where their frequency is, that's it. Really, the message that's coming on beyond that really is inconsequential. It's just a matter of people coming together and feeling supported. That is the most important thing right now. Everything else is going to be revealed. Everything else is going to be okay. So you just look after you and get that grounding in if you need to. But most of you have worked with that. So it just be a little grounding and then coming back to self. But your future self, and again, very similar to Pile 1, your future self is not exactly your future self. Your future self is already here. There's an aspect of you that's already this self. So it's a part of you that it's a little bit fragmented, hasn't really come in and been solidified yet, but it's not exactly a future self. It already exists within you. So it's just a matter of bringing in and integrating this quote-unquote future self, but it's already here. So this is what we have for you today. Hope it resonated with you. And we are sending you so much support for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. And we want you to stay safe and sane. Now, safe, as we said in Pile 1, doesn't mean that you stay in your little box and you don't do what you're supposed to do. We want to encourage you. This is the time to grab your adventure and be who you are and go shine. It's just do it safely, obviously. But we don't want you to take part in any dangerous behavior, obviously. But we also want you to not stay too safe. We want you to get out there and be who you were always supposed to be, because this is honestly your time. This is the message pretty much for everybody right now. So take it as its word and integrate it any way that you want to. So until we meet again, Pile 2. Bye-bye. For you gorgeous Pile 3ers out there, as a reminder, this is your future self wants you to know this. But before we go further, we are going to get into the reading, but we are going to take one card at the beginning, and this is your future self, what they want you to know right now before we get into it. Their message to you in this moment before we even get into the reading. So it's empowerment here. So you've been working in a way to empower your energy, and they're extremely proud of you. And the way in which you're doing it might be a little off the cuff, doing things your own way. You definitely have this, a lot of you have this scientific mind. You put things out, you try things on. If it doesn't work, you move forward. You don't have sort of a straight path. And sometimes when you do have a straight path, you've not really gotten the results that you want. So you kind of go all over the place in order to do things. But they want you to know, even though the way in which you've gone around building your confidence or your empowerment in this lifetime has not really been on paper what we would call, what society would call normal, for want of a better word, although can we really do that anymore, because society is crumbling, so who knows, right? But it's been great for you. So they want to remind you not to compare yourself to the outside world or the society-bound world, because whatever you've done on your own instincts, and your own instincts were perfect for you. So you're coming into a sense of empowerment now. So don't doubt any way that you've done it, because sometimes what you can do is you can doubt your achievements because it's not been done in a very specific way. Well, you haven't done it this way, you don't have that qualification, you don't have this, you don't have that, and that's fine. If people want to say that, that's wonderful. Those aren't the people that you're going to be working with anyway. The right people will be finding you. You've done things outside of the box. So the way in which you've done things is wonderful, but we will say the way in which you've done things will mark a high level of success for you. And there will be other people like you in the world that you can train and that you can help, that will want to come into a sense of empowerment the way that you did it, not the way society tells them to do it. So not the standard way. That's it, not normal, standard. Sorry. We don't even know what normal is anymore. Up is down and left is right, and that's a great thing, actually. So the standard way. So they want to remind you, for those of you who are coming into empowerment and freedom, because that's the theme for all of these readings today. And you trust that you're coming into it, but you're trusting the path. Is it enough? If you're not trusting in any way, or there's any kind of doubt, they want to remind you the way in which you've done it's perfect for you. It's the way you were supposed to do it in this lifetime. Trailblazer. It's the way you're going to help people receive their authenticity in this lifetime. That's another theme too that's coming up: authenticity, doing things your own way. So, and of course, we're channeling your future self. So, of course, it's going to be specific to how you're doing things, right? So, if you're having any doubts about how you're surrendering to the process, how you're doing things, what you're doing, if you're doing enough, yes, absolutely, you are. Now, let's move into your reading. Rebirth, look at that. 16, that could be 7 too. Absolutely wonderful. Let's get you some more. So there's a rebirth theme for all of you, pile 1, 2, and 3. So I'm not surprised about this coming in. And even though these are timeless readings, they will resonate with whoever they're meant to resonate with whenever you come across them. However, there is universal energy out there that's coming into sort of a tidal wave of brand new beginnings, like complete shift in energy coming in. If you're listening to this in September, coming in of October 2021, even though we are about to move into Mercury in retrograde, and we all know that can be interesting, right? It actually can be really interesting. I did say that sarcastically, but it is actually a time of slowing down. It can be really interesting. But in October, I think we have 3 or 4 planets that are going direct. So there's a lot of little stuff that's coming up before it goes direct to move forward in this really beautiful way. So I'm not surprised that this rebirth is coming in to conclude with this energy. So do you have dance with life? Do something to change your energy here. Let me show you these beautiful cards. And what's it? Cornucopia. How interesting. With the 11. So you've got a harvest energy coming in with the rebirth. So your future self wants you to know. And this was the theme. This happened with pile 1, 2, and 3. And even though this energy is very different, I want to remind you, this is not exactly your future self that we're chiming in on. Actually, this is an aspect of yourself that already exists. It's a matter of pulling the rest of you in. So it's not exactly a future self. This self actually exists within you already. So so this is advice for now, exactly in this moment, what you can do in the next couple of weeks, not your future self in a year. This future self exists right now, pulling you into the next moment. So this empowerment, taking this empowerment to your rebirth and changing things up. So here's a suggestion. We always say, take everything the way in which you want to, if it resonates. We always try to give you as much support, and even like physical things that you might want to do, suggestions to give you healing and move you forward, whatever we can do to support you. But you always listen to your own intuition. It may not work for you. But for some of you, you're being asked to shift something. Now, it's not in your brain. It's not in your thought processes. Your thought processes have shifted already, and you're doing really well to encompass. You're going deeper. You know what you're doing. You're open. You know that has its own sort of rhythm, and we don't want to mess with that. This is more tangible. This is more, what can you do to shake up your daily routine? What can you do to actually shift to your purpose now? What can you do, even if you're not sure of the end result, that you can take action right now? You're being called to action. There's a harvest energy coming in. There's an 11, 11, 11. There's an energy coming in for you. There's a bounty there for you to reach out and take, but it's going to cause you to move forward in some kind of action. And your future self is here to tell you that you're ready to do it, your empowerment. Now, some of you have had this energy where, you want to do your healing on your own terms, which is absolutely necessary, of course, but then you want to do a certain amount of healing, and then you'll test the universe and you'll go out there and you want to do a lot of this healing behind closed doors. Now, that's fine. You've done enough of that healing behind closed doors. Some of this healing can be done in public, not necessarily like on the pavement, breaking down, this, that, and the other, having a breakdown on the pavement. Although if you want to do that, please feel free, because we should feel free to be ourselves no matter where we are. But it's not quite that energy. It's more just moving forward. You've done enough that you can do behind closed doors, observing, doing whatever you need to do, deep, dark work that you've done. You found a lot of light in there too. And there was something about the hermit energy. In order for you to do that, you needed to pull yourself out of the world, because there was a lot of energy of you that was entangled in the world, and it was better for you to untangle yourself, like almost like barbed wire. Keep seeing, taking yourself out of there so you could heal from it. And that's how you did it on your own terms. And that's beautiful. Some of you have had some really tough things that you've been through, and our heart goes out to you for all of those who have. Really does. It's just, heart chakra's been working overtime, healing and expanding and this, that, and the other. But that was shut down for a while out of protection. So whatever you need to do, you need to take yourself out and be able to do that. We want to remind you that you've done all of that work now on the sidelines, which again was necessary. Now it's time to take that sense of adventure. Now it's time to take it one step further. Now it's time to go out into the world. Now some of you may be saying, I get that. I feel like it's time to go out there, but I don't feel like I'm ready. Totally understand that. No one's going to push you. We are going to suggest, though, you're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. And we are, your future self is telling you this. The time is right. There is an anchoring of time for you, for a timeline for you to move forward, to be able to pull in what it is that you want. And this is something for you to do. Now, the practical measure of this to be able to go out and do that is you got to shake up your daily life, your action life. You got to do things a little bit differently. You got to take a few chances. Now, we're not asking you to go out there and go to Vegas and bet $1 million. If you have that, there's probably another way that you can use $1 million. And if you want to do that, go be you. But that's not what we're advising you to do. But really take what we can say is calculated risks, but don't think too much about it. Your intuition is really impeccable right now. Move forward, take those baby steps. They're going to move you in the next direction. Sometimes we get into, and I think this came up in Part 1, we sometimes get into this habit of needing all our ducks in a row. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a plan. Nothing wrong with that at all. But sometimes you just got to listen to the intuition. Once you're clear on what you want, now you've been working on what you want. You've been figuring out what you truly want versus the energy that you've been carrying from your bloodline, the energy that you've been carrying from society, the energy that you've been carrying that wasn't even yours at all, right? That's just been projected upon you. This is something that you've pulled yourself out of society so you could figure this out. And you've done that successfully. So, you don't need to wait until all your ducks in a row. You just need to listen to your intuition, but take that chance. They can be little baby steps, and they will move you on to the next step. But you're being asked to change up something and move forward. Now is definitely the time. Now, people who are resonating with this in Pile 3 will probably feel like this is the time to move forward. Now, for some of you, it's doing what you want to do for a living. For some of you, it's taking what you're doing to the next level. For some of you, it's commitment somewhere else. For some of you, it's allowing in the energy of something that you really, really wanted. And deep down, you knew that you could get it. But there was a part of you that maybe didn't believe that you deserved it, but you've been working on that. And you're willing to open up, expand out and say, all right, universe, I'm ready to accept it. Let's see what the next move is. So let's see what the next move is. Let's get you some tarot on this. But this is a very exciting time. This is definitely a time of action, and we want to remind you this is not exactly your future self. This is an element of yourself that already exists within. So we can say your immediate self. I'm not going to put that in the title because I feel as though, quite rightly, that might confuse people. We're going to keep it as the future self, but this is your immediate self. This is your immediate self that is right there advising you and has been there the entire time rooting for you. All right. So under empowerment, we have the 10 of chalices. Absolutely beautiful, as we said before. You've got the 10 of cups coming in. Right after the wish card of the Nine of Chalices, the Nine of Cups. So you've already had your wish fulfilled, and you've got this level of contentment now from the empowerment moving forward. Now, this is something that you're able to move forward with as you change up your life and you move forward with that action. It's going to require action from you to get there. Now, we don't want you to get overwhelmed by it. We don't want you to feel like you're on your own. Your inner child is integrated. Your future self is right there. And there's aspects of your personality that's been working from the primal self to be integrated, from the primal self to the spiritual self, to the analytical self, and to the divine feminine self. All of these sort of like instances are coming in, and for some reason keep really figuring if you want to work with the directions to south, east, north, and west. If you do rituals or you do any kind of like sense of magic, and magic is different to everybody, but working with nature, working the elements of nature, this could be something, and we always try to give you some kind of grounded sort of supporting understanding if it's something that you want to do, but always listen to your intuition. This is something that you can do to really hone in on this empowerment that you have working with the elements here, and working with northeast, south, southwest, northeast, south, yes, and working with all of them, the directional elements in your life right now, that's going to complete a cycle for you moving forward. It's going to also activate that sense of nature within yourself too, because something that you've been doing, you're very nature inspired, very magical beings, but sometimes you've separated that. For some of you, again, these are general readings, so take what resonates, but for some of you, you've had to separate that in order to feel as though you can heal from, from one of a better term, the 3D world, from society and what it does to people. And it's not that great in some ways. It dumps people's truth down, tells people who they are without really being willing to look at them in an individual sense. It really, society looks at what they can get from people, how they can use people rather than how they can revere them, right? And this was really sensitive to your soul, especially as a child. You sensed this everywhere you went. It broke your heart, So in order for you to heal from that, you had to shut down almost the sort of the elemental part of you, the magical part of you, so you could deal with the real, the realistic part of you and heal from that. Now it's about integrating back into that intense magic that you have. Now that magic never left you, and it comes in, it protected you, it did all sorts of things, and at certain points in your life you were able to go back to it and rely on it, but it's nothing that's been necessarily completely integrated into your life, completely and totally moving forward. That's why you're here. This is what you're here to do, to integrate back into your magic permanently, so you never feel as though it's on the back burner or you don't have time for it. Now, we're not suggesting that you devote your entire life, right? Leave your job tomorrow. You're going to be doing 16, 17 rituals a day. You don't have time for anything else. Now, of course, that's not what we're saying. But there's ways of integrating, really small ways of just, it's a mentality, it's a mindset, integrating this. And this is what you're back to. And this is how you're going to find who you are. Society tried to knock that out of you one way or another, and you protected that part of yourself. Now it's time to integrate back and then rise up in the embodiment of who you are and say, F you, this is who I am. And this is what the world needs. The world does need a lot more magic. Just because the world or society says magic doesn't exist, and then they give us Disney, right? So they can capitalize on people really do believing on magic and absolutely believing in it, but yearning for it, right? So they'll spend $6.99 to go see it in the movie theater, or how much it is now, $20 to go see it in the movie theater, right? So they knew that there was magic in the world. They wanted to dumb it down and take that power one way or another, but they didn't really do it. They can't really do it. No one's really letting anybody do anything. So it's just really, and it's not about that. It's not about that at all. It's about you coming back to your magic and you understanding that what was done in society and how you had to grow up was a little bit harsh. And that little child inside of you, that beautiful little inner child, is still waiting for that, that magic to be integrated all the time. So sometimes they have a little bit of a freak out, right? Because they're all about magic. And this is time to fully embody the magical side of you and integrate that into your life in your own way and have that magical life. So in that rebirth, we get the Two of Chalices. Now, there's two ways of seeing this too. In physical terms, it also could mean for some of you a birth coming in But also, obviously, it could mean a love coming in. Somebody who matches your integrity, somebody who matches who you are, nobody that you have to save. This is going to be the kind of integration, the kind of beauty that you've wanted in your life. The other side of it is for some of you, and this could be for people who are already with people that they're very happy with. This is also a full integration that we've talked about, from the spiritual and the physical side coming together in a bonding moment of empowering that allows for this freedom that can never be severed, right? So there's several different ways. And for some of you, it'll be both. It'll be that coming in together, and then it'll be the physical of somebody else coming in. Also, for some of you, there's partnerships coming in that will enable you to move forward in the direction that you want to with the proper support. And we're talking about actual physical support, money, resources, whatever needs to be done. So this is a partnership of all sides. And it could mean in all levels of your life, there's a partnership that's coming in for you. It doesn't feel like just one or the other. So Dance with Life, you've got the Earth Mother. Look at this. And we did say for some of you, it did mean maybe pregnancy. We're not freaking anyone out. If that's not what you're looking for, then, you're not going to invite it into your life. So, for some of you, it could be for some of you, as we have the rebirth, it's a new, not just a new way for you to be, because that's a really easy thing to say. This is you being out in the world and creating the life and the beauty that you want in tangible form. So again, doing what you want to do, taking it to the next level, and being recognized in that way. Most of you have built some sort of firm foundation from which to move forward. So a lot of you aren't necessarily working from the beginning in some way. It's just a matter of taking that action, putting it out there, doing it today, because the time is absolutely right. Look, the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the Wheel of Fortune technically can move in any way, but with everything that's going on in it can move in any direction. But the Wheel of Fortune is always moving. It's about action and moving forward. Now, we don't have the Chariot here, but we do have our cornucopia, which is telling us that we have the harvest coming in. So it's about you reaching out and taking what you want. Again, we want to be very clear, as we said, pile 1 and 2, to be very clear about what you want. Check in with your soul about what you want. This is not a good time to dumb yourself down and go for what you think you can get. Go for exactly what it is that you want. Even if it's big dreams, there's always baby steps to get there. And have this expansive view, have that adventurous view moving forward. And also we would advise you in some way to not necessarily think about the outcome of what it will look like, because for most of you there's an expansiveness around you. You can't possibly imagine how beautiful it's going to be, but you can also put yourself into a situation of, when I have all of this around me, how is it going to feel? That's something that you can do, because a lot of you are trying to do or working with the law of attraction, and a lot of it has a little different things to say, and that's totally fine. But a lot of people, where people sort of fall short, it's not because their inability to visualize or do any of that stuff. It's really because a lot of people fall short on what they really want. And they go for things that they think they want or they think they can get, and their dreams don't seem like they can be actualized. And really, it's about clicking into your inner self, your source, your Godhead, and all of your intuition, opening your heart and saying what it is that I want, and then attributing to that, how is that going to be for my higher self? How am I going to serve the world? How I'm going to do that? Now, you may want $10 million. There's nothing wrong with asking for $10 million. You're worth $10 million. You're worth $100 million if you want, if you're willing to put in the work, and you deserve that. You believe that you deserve that. You can bring in that amount of money. There's no problem with that. The universe doesn't differentiate between $1 and 10 million. We do. We differentiate between the two of them. But if you want $10 million because your higher self can do X, Y, and Z with it, they can open up an animal sanctuary, they can work with the homeless, you can do that. You can get a nice house from which you can have nice resources where you can work from home, and then create a new company where you can help people and outsource and this, that, and the other. You see the difference? And then all of a sudden your soul's going, yeah, let's give him $10 million. The universe is like, that's higher self material. Let's do it. And in fact, people like you who should have $10 million, should have $10 million, but often fall short of gathering in that $10 million, not because they're not worth it. It's because the way in which we go about it and the way in which we structure law of attraction can be a little bit off. So check in with your higher self, check in with whoever you want, and don't dumb yourself down. If you want the $10 million, go get it. Just be honest with yourself about what you want, and also with your relationship with money. You know, if you want money and you want the $10 million, you have to honor the energy of money. I honor the energy of money. I honor $10 million. A lot of people in the spiritual community are very happy to receive $10 million, but then there's a part of them that's shameful about wanting the $10 million, because in spirituality, or even artists, we're told that, you know, it's not valued. You should do it for free. It should, you know, that's absolute rubbish. Really cultivate that energy with money right now, and you can respect it for what it is. You can understand what it is. You can honor it in your own way. You don't have to be a slave to it by any way, or shape, or form, or lose yourself self around the energy of money where you'll do anything for it. That's not at all what we're saying. But you don't have to lose yourself in it, but you can honor it for what it is and what it can bring you. And then rework all of this understanding. And this is something that you've worked on, so this should be really easy for you. So it's just a matter of bringing it into focus. So there's nothing you need to do to be able to do it. Bring it into focus, get a real clarity around it, and then change your day-to-day practices of what you do. Take the action, baby steps. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, moving forward. Change your day-to-day action to move forward and embody this rebirth and this beauty of who you are. And this will be a tangible way for you to conceivably move into this absolutely and take advantage of this new rebirth, which, let's be clear, Pile 3, will be happening with or without you doing anything. It's going to happen anyway. This is just advice or support, some insight about how you can utilize this energy and make it work for you. Make it your bitch. Well, you know what I mean. Pardon my French. So, yeah, I don't know why people say that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe French people swear a lot, but anyway. So here we go. So your future self, so they want you to know this. They want you to know that this is the time for what. The main thing is, you know, if you're resonating, this really shouldn't be a surprise to you. Most readings shouldn't be a surprise to you if you're resonating, but the main thing that your future self is a main thing. The main information that's coming across from your future self, again, which is already your primary self, it's ready to be completely integrated, is that the harvest is now. It's the timing is, you're absolutely in on this timing. This is the timing to move forward. This is really not the time to step back to do this. Most of you have business plans already. You're ready to do this. So if this is happening for you, then this is just letting you know. This is just confirmation for you. This one's coming up for me too, to come in. So that is your main message for you, and you've done everything. You know, some of you, you know, let me just work on this first, let me finish this book first. You know, do everything at the same time. You know, you're very good at doing 3 or 4 things at the same time. Sometimes you're not, sometimes you are. But when it matters, you can do it. So, you know, not everything has to be put on hold as you move forward. You can still be healing. And we want to remind you, a lot of the healing can be done out in the open now. All of the raw stuff that you've been through has already been done. Sometimes we need to see from the world and reactions and get that support in order for us to feel that strength again and really feel that warmth from the world, because the world really is a beautiful place. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, but there's some gorgeousness in there too. And sometimes that can really bring in that sort of cocooning of healing, and we can only do that when we step outside of ourselves. So that's what you're being asked to do. So let's see what we have here. Safety. Now this came up in pile 2, I believe, possibly pile 1, I can't remember, but I think it's pile 2. Safety. In the hurricane of life, a strong foundation. Oh no, safety came up, but it was a different version of it. My bad. Safety in the hurricane of life, a strong foundation will keep you safe, root chakra. This you already know, and you've been working on it. So as you move forward with those baby steps, it's okay to be a little afraid. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. The payoff will still be huge. You don't have to be fearless to do this. You've got this. You've been working on the first root chakra. There's nothing else for you to do. If you're feeling a little wobbly with the first root chakra, like we said with the first or a second readings, piles, just go out and ground yourself. Do what you do to bring yourself back into your body, but you don't need to wait anymore. This is your time. And this is the one that I came back for. Oneness. You are part of the universe and always will be. Crown chakra. Absolutely. You are part of the universe. And this is the way you can prove it to yourself. By getting out there and taking those baby steps. And they are going to pay off in ways that you could never possibly have imagined. So, beautiful pile threes. That's what we have for you. We are sending you so much support for exactly who you are and where you are, and we're asking you to stay safe and sane. And as we said in pile 1 and 2, staying safe does not mean staying where you are and keeping yourself in that little box. Staying safe means that obviously stay safe whatever you do, but also get out there, enjoy your freedom, do what you need to do, and go be you in the world. This is the time to be expansive and to be out there, not to stay small, just to be clear about that safe remark. All right, my darlings, take care till we meet again. Bye-bye.